بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي.
Hello, students. In this lecture, we will talk about psychological development in childhood and its stages as suggested by Sigmund Freud. Freud proposed that psychological development in childhood takes place in a series of fixed stages. These stages are also known as psychosexual development stages. However, Freud used the term sexual in a very general way to mean all pleasurable actions and thoughts here. According to Freud, as the person grows physically, certain areas of his or her body become important as sources of potential frustration, pleasure, or both. He provides an explanation of all this tension in terms of the sexual energy known as libido that is discharged in some way to give pleasure. Mode of gratification in this reference is the way in which the individual satisfies basic drives. For example, in the oral stage, the mouth is the focus for obtaining pleasure by sucking, eating, biting, and then different parts of body that facilitates the mode of gratification are known as erogenous zones such as mouth. Freud proposed that children develop in five distinct stages, each focused on a different source of pleasure. Now we will study something about the each stage. First one is oral stage. Child experiences oral stage from birth to 1.5 years. Mouth is the erogenous zone. Child's primary interaction is based on seeking gratification through mouth, such as sucking. So, breastfeeding is not only a source of getting feed, but a source of oral satisfaction for the baby. Due to absolute dependency on the caretaker, child develops a sense of trust and comfort with the caretaker. As the oral stage progresses, child learns about his or her body and a sense of self, like ego, it develops gradually. While with the growing in age, child learns to use crying to demand something, and other interesting development in oral stage is the experience of delayed gratification. A child, for example, crying for feed is not immediately attended in response to I want it now. This delay, even if it is for a few minutes, make child learn that immediate gratification is not possible. During weaning, breastfeeding is gradually terminated. At this stage, Freud interprets child sucking and biting activities as expression of oral aggression. Mother's breast is now replaced with the other objects such as thumb sucking and other objects. Then parents often try to restrict and stop the baby from sucking or biting activities. And this causes the oral aggression. However, the weaning process is crucial as it will help to decrease the absolute dependency on the adults. It is important that the mother, as a primary caretaker, manage this stage thoughtfully. If a fixation occurs at this stage, the child may have dependency issues and aggression in adulthood. Overeating, nail biting, smoking may be the other problems associated with oral fixation. Anal stage. The anal stage continues from 1.5 to 3 years of age. An erogenous zone in this stage is bowel and bladder control. Children also realize in this stage that they get attention and reaction from the people around them when they behave this way. Toilet training is an important issue in this stage. While child learns to control bowel and bladder movements, the sense of accomplishment and independence develops. More, the ego further develops with the awareness about the body and the environment. Social rules related to cleaning and toilet training restricts the child's erotic pleasure during anal stage. And at that time, the social interaction and social aspects of toilet training further develop the superego. However, it also depends on parents' approach to give toilet training. A positively reinforced training will result in competency, creativity, and confidence. Otherwise, training through punishment will lead to negative outcomes such as stubborn, mean, and obsessive personality, whereas a very lenient or careless approach will result into an anal expulsive personality, messy and destructive. Let's move now to the phallic stage. The age range in the phallic stage is 3 to 5 years. An erogenous zone is genitals. During this stage, children learn the difference between male and female. The boys view their father as a rival for the mother's affection and feels possessive, but at the same time, they fear the father's punishment for such feelings that Freud termed as castration anxiety. And this phenomena is known as Oedipus complex. Well, on the other hand, a female child will develop a sense of competition with her mother and becomes attached to her father. Freud views this attachment based on the experience that he termed as the penis envy. And this phenomena is known as Electra complex. To know in detail, please read the notes on these two phenomena that I have provided you in Microsoft Team. Freud believed that as these complexes, Oedipus and Electra complexes, are repressed, hence we do not think about it or we are unable to think about it consciously. However, the scholars from various disciplines criticized these concepts for their sexist nature, lack of evidence, and untestable hypotheses. Freud believed that penis envy cannot be fully resolved, and women somehow remain fixated in this stage. However, later psychologists like Karen Horney disputed his theory, considering it as incorrect and an attempt to demeaning the women. Horney proposed the womb envy that causes men to feel inferior because they cannot give birth to children. The latent period. In the latent stage, age range is 5 years to puberty and there is no erogenous zone in this stage, meaning that child's sexual feelings are not active in the latent stage. In this stage, superego is at work as supported by parenting, peer relationship, and formal schooling. It is expressed and child develops social skills and social relationship. This is the time of exploration for the child, and if the child remains fixated in this stage, he or she may develop into immature person, unable to make or maintain social relations. And then the genital stage. In the genital stage, age range is puberty to the end of the life. The erogenous zone is genitals with a matured sexual interest. According to Freud, ego and superego are almost fully formed in this stage. Unlike the younger age, such as infancy, when the child is ruled by the id demanding and seeking immediate gratification, in the genital stage, child has been matured into a young adult. They are able to maintain a balance between instinctual demands and social needs. Overall, Freud theorized that an individual must successfully complete each stage to become a psychologically healthy adult with a fully formed ego and superego. Otherwise, individuals may become stuck or fixated in a particular stage, causing emotional and behavioral problems in adulthood. Fixation is the incomplete release of drive energy associated with a particular stage of psychosexual development, resulting in a preference for that mode of gratification. These fixations can lead to problems in forming loving and sexual relationships with others. In other words, sexual frustrations experienced in the childhood due to unsuccessful completion of these stages will cause anxiety and will persist as a neurosis, that is a functional mental disorder. As described in first lecture, that Freud's psychosexual development theory and his other concepts met with great controversy. Here I am going to tell you some of the points related to the criticism of the psychosexual stages. Freud's theory met with controversy for several reasons. In this lecture, I am just going to talk about the psychosexual stages. First is Freud's theory seems to be male-centered, focused mainly on male development. And the second is some of his main concepts are difficult to objectively measure. For example, libido is impossible to measure and therefore cannot be tested. Third, it is difficult to understand that certain behavior problems are caused by childhood experiences, particularly when length of time between cause and effect is too long. In other words, retrieving the early childhood experience may not be a reliable source of information to determine that certain behavior problem is caused by the childhood. Fourth, Freud's theory is based upon case studies and there is lack of sufficient empirical evidence that can resist a generalization of this theory. Now you are able to read the relevant text in the chapter 5, the psychodynamic approach. In next lecture, we will study more about defense mechanism. Thank you very much.